Well, good afternoon, boys and girls. We're back out at the mill. I don't have Danny with me. He's off with mom somewhere. But we're going to continue on the timber frame order, and I've got kind of a weird situation going on with this log over here. Actually, I'm not even going to mess with my gloves because I'm going to have to pause you guys and everything. I'm going to show you this log, and I'm going to show you a little bit of what I'm going through on this particular decision. So I'm starting to get to the end of my decent size diameter logs without going to super big ones that aren't going to work for 8s or 10s or anything like that because they're 16 and 20 and they're big around. But what I'm down to here is 8-footers, 10-footers, and 12-footers. Now the log that I have over here is somewhat interesting. It's a big white pine. It's got good size, almost 20 inches around. But if you look right there, you see that crook in it? And that sucks because that's right at 8 feet. So, or 9 feet. So I made a mark at 10'6". And if I cut it there, that means that I have to deal with the loss in the yield because of that crook versus the 8-footer. If I cut it at 8'6", it'd be somewhere like right there. It's nice and symmetrical and fat. The problem is that if I cut it at 8'6", I'm committing to 8-foot lumber because I only have these 4x5s right here that I need 8 feet long. I've got a bunch of different 12s and 10s and then some 12s. Now, obviously, these 12s, there's only 3 of them that I need, and that's going to be a different deal. But I've got a bunch of different 10s. So this kind of stinks. And I went round and round about it. What I don't want to do is I don't want to cut this log at 8'6" and then commit to that's all I can get out of it. So I'm going to cut it at 10'6". And then it's going to give us a few more options as we start cutting through the log and see how it cants out of what we can take. I really, I'll go back again. 10 people sign off. I really need to get, when you look at the timber frame layout here, those who've been watching understand this, but he already has the base. He's doing the joinery on the base right now. I need to get these posts cut and then these tie beams cut. So I need these 3 tie beams. Those are the 12-footers. And I need these 6 posts so that after he gets his base cut and installed, he can put his bents together, do the joinery on the bents. He's got all the bracing material, these little knee braces all the way around. And I do still need to cut the girts, and I have to cut like 3 more of the rafters, and that's it. So I want to get him moving up. I want him to be able to put his bents together, so I need to get these posts cut. And as we get into it, I have a choice to make, and that is at 10 feet long, whether I'm going to start cutting individual logs, so in other words, 1 post per log, because of their 7x7 size. It takes a significant log to cant out a 14-inch cant so you could get, say, 4 out of it. As you look at this pile here, I want to use all this barkless stuff up in the top of this pile. Got some beautiful 10-footers up here, but it's loading that whole log for 1 piece. Or the one that's just behind the top one there, it's like a 10. You're loading that log for 1 piece. This one here, if I put that up there and maybe cut some of the crook off it, you're loading that log for 1 piece. This one here, it's got a little bit of it's long, but it's got a bend in it, which makes the long useless. So if I cut it at 10, you got to cut that whole log for 1 post, and that stinks. Now, I don't want to cut this big monster down here that's 20 feet long. I don't want to waste a 20-footer. And if you come out to my, this is my short pile of pine here. So you kind of have to sift through. I know that that one's like just barely over 10. This bottom one here in the front is just over 10. Again, you're cutting it for one post. But then when I go into this pile here, I get some beautiful big logs, but you're wasting a huge log for a 10-footer, and I want to try to minimize that as much as possible. You know, I've got some big pitch pine spruce and so on and so forth there. And I don't want to waste big logs for small posts. I don't really have the ability. If I had a 24-foot mill and I could cut 20-footers, I'd probably be cutting these at like 20-foot 3 and milling them out that way. At least, you know, then you could get multiples on end. But in this case, I had to make a decision on whether I was going to cut this thing to 8 feet and absolutely say, I don't have any options of what I'm going to cut out of it, or try to take it at 10.6, and then I have lots of options of what I try to take out of it. So 10.6 is the final decision, so to speak. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut this thing off. I'm going to place you over here and pause you, grab my 372. We're going to cut this thing off and we'll load it up on the mill. We'll get going. So I'm going to pause you. So we're going to do a cold start on the 372 and just fire it up and hopefully use up some of the fuel that's in the saw. Get this thing cut off at 10'6", and then it'll give us some options. The rest of this will become camp wood. So in case you're wondering, that's how you do it and not get your saw pinched. And I'm going to get you back over here, pause you guys again, which won't matter to you because it'll just blink and you'll be back and we'll get to cutting. But I'm going to get this loaded up, probably a little bark off it, and go to work. So I'm going to pause you guys. All right, so we got her debarked. We got her up there. I took my hatchet and shaved all the dirt encrusted sap off the end here. And what our goal is with this log is to cut 7x7s. I would like to get this into a 14 1/8 inch cant and cut 4 of them out of it. That would be perfect. That would get 5 of my 6 corner posts done. And then I can move on to what's next. And then I can pull a 10-foot log and cut 1 and be happy. So this log on this end down here is 19 and a half by 20. So here's the thing. On this end, it would yield a 14-inch cant, just over a 14-inch cant. That's 20 inches at 70%. You can do that math pretty simple. And I need 14 1/8 by 14 1/8. So I can just end up with a 14 1/8, can't cut it in half twice and be done. Down that other end down there, when it gets past that bump, it's going to be a problem. Now, the good part is that I got 10'6", and maybe if I can work it out so I can end up with a 14-inch cant and have a teeny little bit of wane on the end, I don't think that'll cause a problem. You can put that on the bottom facing down. The middles, so if you look at the log, the middle faces are going to be nice and clean. It would only be one little corner here, maybe a corner there. Actually, it wouldn't be a corner there because this log flares out. So it would only be that corner on that side, maybe on two posts that have one edge that's got a little bit of wane on it. And the rest of it should be clean. And I think that'd be fine for corner posts. You can just put the wane corner into the inside of the building, or, you know, you could technically put it out too and cover it up with siding, but I think that would be maybe a challenge to cut his joinery that way. I'd like to work off of clean faces. However, what my goal is right now is to stay away from 14 1/8. So I want to get the top cleaned off it, top and bottom, and then the sides, hopefully at 16. And then see where all my wane is, try to clean that off, cut it in half, Bob's your uncle. So that's what my goal is right now. Trying to use the log that we have. I'm going to pour the water to it. We'll get fired up and we will figure it out. Now, and I know we say this a lot, but you know, you can go about this willy-nilly and not care, and that's fine. So 16 is going to be tight. It almost looks like my top cut needs to be at 16. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to cut it at 17, see how bad it is, maybe cut it at 16, then we'll flip it over, hopefully cut it at 15, and then at 14 1/8, and hopefully have a good enough flat side on both these sides to proceed forward. You know, it's going to be a challenge. And if it just works out that we can't get it, then we'll take something else out of it, you know, 4x5s or 5x5s or whatever. But that's what we're going to shoot for. So we're going to try for cutting it at 16. Actually, we're going to try at 17 first, and then we'll take it to 16. Now, I'll be honest with you. To be honest with you right now, 17 looks like it's going to work. So I'm getting optimistic. So let's cut it at 17. So I got a lot of wet wood on the outside. Let's shut this thing off. Because I think that my channel is either going to have to turn into something else, or you're watching just to see how I think my way through a log. There's a really good big flat spot on this right now. But there's a lot of wet wood on the outside. It's not punky wood, it's just wet wood. Now, it would be better if we could remove all that. However, I don't see that happening on this log. So we're going to flip it over. If I can somehow turn into a man and flip this big log, and this is not a small log. You start to get into 20-inch around logs, they're heavy. This is one that you do not want to let it roll back because it will roll off the mill on top of you. If you think you're fast enough to get out of the way, I got news for you. Okay, so we get it over. There's probably going to be some rolling in this process. My goal now is to get to just keep staying away from 14. Now, as big as I can make it into a reasonable cant. And this side should be, I could take this side at 16 right now, I think. And then we'll get it on its side. We'll flip it, we'll get it on its side and take it from there. So we're going to go to 16 and try and take it off there. It's also not a bad idea for you guys to stay around even numbers so you know where you were. If it works. If it doesn't work, it's fine. But, man. Huh. I almost want to come to 17 and try it there. I think I'm going to shave it off here first. Kind of wishing I could just taken it at 16. So we'll come back, cut it at 16. The other thing that's going to be interesting about this process is that this band is going to go over 2,000 board feet on this. I have to come down to 15. Then we're going to be sneaking up on, that's only going to give us 7/8 we can take off the other side, but I got to do it. You guys don't notice, I throw my flitches way out, and they end up on the table up there. It just helps me with my workflow rather than pulling them off and putting them up there every time. So we've got a pretty similar flat on the top and on the bottom right now, and we still have another 7/8 we can go. We're going to flip this on its side, take it next step. And the interesting part of this Stellicut band, don't know that I can highlight it enough right now, is we're starting to get into, for me, kind of historical grounds here that I've heard that of a Stellicut band going 3,000 board feet. I did not believe it. However, we're now going above 2,000 on one and still cutting perfectly flat. So this is an important milestone to me that actually says, you know, if you were working in clean wood, there's a possibility they took one 3,000. Because, you know, this log right here is probably 300. I was already over 2,000. And I don't see anything telling me that it's not going to be able to cut this log. So let's get it flipped up, squared up, and get the top taken off it. Right now we're 15, I think. So we have 7/8 of an inch we could take off of either side if we had to. Okay. This is the part you have to be careful of when you do this, okay? If this log isn't stable right now, and I reach down for that speed square and this log comes off, you're in a world of hurt. I don't know that I can stress that enough because it's happened to me. Okay, I'm just going to try to square it up here. Oh, went too far. Now I got to do the, damn it. Now I got to do the log dog assist trick. This is one of those situations where you can go too far, guys. Oh, come on, stick in there. And then as I pull, I put the log dog assist in low. As I pull back like this, it scoots the bottom back over. And there's no reason to bring that end up because right now, this is going to be a nightmare. Okay, we're going to go back to where we were. All right, so that right there is perfectly square. So I want to get a dog right here before it moves. And that is the money thing to do. Now, this end's going to suck. It's 18.5 high. Let's see how high this end is. 20. If I cut down to here, I'll be taking it at 18. I'm optimistic. If I could skim this at 18, I think this might work out okay. So I'm going to go ahead and take the top off this at 19 first, then 18, and see if I can steal a flitch out of this 8-foot section here. And we'll go from there. Yeah, this might work out. 19 just misses. I probably should go to 20. I'm going to go to 20, shave it at 20. And I could probably steal another flitch. Nope, looks like I was wrong. Looks like I was wrong. 20 didn't work. 19 might have worked. And drop the 19, take it off there. So I got, I don't know, not the greatest piece in the world. I tried though. So we'll go back, take it at 18. So these pieces, I don't want to fool you guys who are coming off at 7/8 of an inch doing it like this. And I am going to make one more cut at 17. And that's going to give me really 3 inches to work on the other side. Hopefully it works out. This side is not cleaned up enough yet. So we'll come to 17. All right. You shut it off. So just looking at the wane up here, most of that wane's going to come off on the bottom here. Not all of it though, because I got to get to 14, so not all of it. So I don't know which way I want to do this yet. There's going to be wane on it no matter what. If I cut it to 14 1/8, I almost get rid of all the wane on this side. It's not a bad idea. So when I flip it 90 from here, I think I'll just cut it at 14 1/8. Yeah. So we're going to flip it 90 degrees, cut it at 14 1/8. And then we can actually drop down and cut it at 7. Then flip it up on the other side. And I'm taking a leap of faith because I'm kind of committing to what I'm doing at that point. So okay, let's just go ahead and cut this thing at 14 1/8. I got no problems over there. And then we can drop down and we can cut it in half at 7. Cut it at 14 1/8, then cut it in half at 7, and then we can flip it up and just mill it out. And hopefully we end up with 4 good pieces. All right, so we are going to have to drop our stops somewhere below 7, maybe 5. Make sure I'm not dogged off here. Just dropping the 5. That gives us something to roll against when we do it. And we don't have to worry about hitting them. So we'll cut it in half at 7. We'll flip it up and then mill it down to 14 1/8 and then cut it in half. And hopefully it all works out. Now we'll try to get this thing flipped up. This might be a chore with a PV. We'll try it though. Need to get my stops away from it. My log dogs away from it so I can roll it, pull it backwards this way. And then try to get the cant hook on it to hold it together a little bit. So we don't want this to shoot over the top of the stops. And if you think it's gonna, then just bring the stop up, which we can do. Let's just do that, and then we're all set. Now we'll roll it on its side, and we'll see how it trims out. Once we get to 14 1/8, we'll cut it at 14 1/8, and then just cut it in half, and we have our 4 more 7x7s. So hopefully this holds it together. Nice. Come on, go all the way up. I don't know what it's sitting on. It's sitting on something. What's it sitting on? Oh, are you kidding me? All right, so this is the log dog assist. That's what I mean, that I could have shot over the top of it. Now we should be okay. It's one good thing about that log dog assist. Sometimes it's an extra hand. Oh, damn it, it's not gonna go. These are big chunks. There we go. And we'll get this one back down at 5. And we'll shove them back over against them. Except this chunk of bark right here. Shove that one over against it. We'll trim it out, and hopefully we end up good. All right. Nice. Tell how nice and square everything cut, how nice that seam went together in the middle. No tension. We could probably eyeball how we come down on this. So I'm going to cut it at 16 first. I just happen to be there. This is going to be really close, boys and girls. There's a real low spot in the middle. That stinks. I still think I'm going to be okay because I got 2 inches to go, but that stinks. So we're going to 15. Probably just drop right to 14 1/8. We're not saving anything out of the top. So it just didn't work out great, guys. I'm at 14 1/8 now. So we're going to end up with 1, 2, 3 clean sides, and then 1 piece of wane, and then one corner, 2 corner, 3 corner, 3 clean sides, and 1 piece of wane. It kind of sucks. I had been planning on cutting them an extra. Damn it. All right, let me pause you guys. I'm going to shut the mill off, and I'm going to take a look at my list We're going to see if we can do something different here. Okay, so what I've decided to do is, this little piece of wane right here is not going to make a difference on a 7x7. I'm going to leave that. I'm going to cut this in half. I'm going to end up with 3 7x7s. The bottom 2 and this one. And then that other one that's on the top on the outside over there has just got a little bit too much wane on it for my liking. I think it would be fine in this case, but I'm going to turn it into a 5x5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this in half. I'm going to throw that outside one off the mill, come in with the forks, pick this chunk up, get it off the mill, throw that one back up there and cut it into a 5x5. And I should be able to get rid of all the wane doing that. So that's what we're going to do. Looks to be the smartest thing, given the best lumber. Do not want this thing up. So we're going to cut it in half at 7, then pull this one off, take those 3 out, put that one back on, and cut it into a 5x5. I would love it if this wasn't here and I could just do this another way, but I don't see that I can. So what we want to do is we want to take this one right off the mill. We'll throw it back up there. We'll cut the wane off in 2 directions. These are beautiful. Still cutting. I'll show you guys. Like I said, we're getting out beyond 2,000 board feet. I'll show you what's going on here. That Stellicut band is still cutting straight as shit. Look at that corner. No waves in it at all. Look at that corner. I hope you guys can see that because I can't see through the viewfinder with my sunglasses on, but it's still cutting laser beam straight, and getting out beyond 2,000 board feet. So I'm going to pause you guys again. I'm going to take those 3 off, go throw them on the pile, tag them, go throw them on the pile, and put that other one back up here. I'll bring you back to finish up. All right, so we got our last one up here. You can't see all the wane that's on this side. Now, I think this would be perfectly fine for a 7x7 corner post. I really do. But I don't want it to mess him up. So I'm going to I'm going to cut it to 5 this way, flip it on its side, cut it to 5 that way, and we'll have a 5x5 rafter. It should be pretty much perfect wane-free rafter. Got everything almost all the way in. probably end up with a usable 2x4 out of this, so I'll throw it up on my sawhorses. So all this stuff up here is to be edged off. And we'll throw it up on its side, and again, we'll end up with some usable 2x4s. Cut 2 inches off the top to 5. We get a 5x5 and a 2x5. And this one will be another 2x4 when I edge them off. And I got a 5x5 rafter out of it. So that seemed to work out perfect. I've got 3 up here to edge off in a 2x4s, 5x5. Put a rafter down and mark 1. So I need 2 more rafters. So I need 2 more rafters, and I need 2 more posts. So it would be awesome if I had that same size log. I could do exactly what I just did again, and it would work out almost perfect. So I'm going to kill it here. I won't make you watch me carry that over. I don't need to use the machine for that white pine 5x5, but here are the 7x7s that I just threw on top of this pile. Actually, you can see there's a little wind shake in that one. These are the 7x7s. This one's probably got a little more sapwood on it than I would want, but it's just a corner post. It's going to be more than good enough for a corner post on this side, this size structure that he's building. So I have 1 there, 1 there, 1 there, 1 there. So there's 4 of them. I need 6, and rafters. I'm closing in on that one as well. So I'm going to go find another log and figure out what I'm going to cut next. And it's either going to be 2 small logs and cut 2 posts and be done with them, or 1 big spruce log maybe and try to do exactly what I just did. Let me make sure. So I have 15. Now I got 16 out of 18. So I need 2 more 5x5s. And on the 7x7s, I've got 4 and I need 6. I need 2 more of those. So I need a 14-inch cant, pretty much. So I need a 20-inch log. If I had a 20-inch log, it goes right up at 10'6", and that gets me the balance of what I need. Basically, I got to do what I just did. Cut a 14-inch cant, cut a 7-inch slab off, flip it up, split it in half. There's my 2 7x7s, and then split the other one in half, and then take 1 inch off each side, and you get your 2 5x5s. So, yeah, that's it. And for now, if you have any questions, hit me up. I do have a customers looking at a Norwood HD36 who contacted me yesterday through Norwood. Supposed to come down and run the mill a little bit and see what they're like. We'll see what happens. I'll try to stay optimistic on that whole thing. He's got some health issues. I don't know. Maybe if he goes full hydraulic, it'll be fine. We'll see. So that's it. Hit me up. Anything, like, share, subscribe, blah, 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 blah. Suggestions, whatever you want. But for now, Spark Solutions out.